Welcome to the 808s and Mates podcast. This show started out a few years ago as a hip-hop chat show between a few of our friends. After getting involved last year, we have now taken the reins of the show and are expanding onto new platforms. We hope to showcase to our viewers Ireland's up-and-coming creative talent through interviews and performances. We are 808s and Mates. Behind the 808s there are of course a few mates. There is Yulin, Paddy and Corey on the cameras, Rian doing the social media, Ollie and Craig are the producers, and my name is Jack and I'll be one of the hosts of the show along with my pal Bill.
What's up, guys?
And today we are happy to announce our first guest. He has had consistent gigs between Galway and Dublin to countless articles with 44 Mag and District. He has a successful podcast called Snoods AM and a recent performance on Rinse France, which was really good. We bring to our first guest Collie Collins / Shampain / Gulliver Martin.
Hey, I like that. Yeah, it's good, nice touch. For RIP Red Bull Shoe before I go any further. A shout out to a real one. Pour one out for him. If you're drinking a Red Bull right now, or maybe pause this now and then go to the shop and get a Red Bull.
Why, what about that monster that we got for you?
Well, yeah, I want to give a special shout out to the 808s and Mates boys, especially Craig, Cast Craig. He's out scrapping on the weekend. He came through with the new Mango Loco Monster, and of course without my Red Bull affiliation now I'm free to promote whatever energy drink I wanted to, even though it wasn't sponsored by them anyway. Free
from the shackles. Yes, and
I got this Mango Monster on the weekend. It's absolutely insanely tasty. It's really so good. Do you ever get to do you know what it is? It's like, do you ever get the tropical like drink out of Tesco and it's like in the like milk carton sort of thing? It's basically that, but like with fizz in it and caffeine.
Lovely.
Wouldn't really be a connoisseur of energy drinks myself,
no.
But
we're sponsored by Carpacchi.
Yeah, we don't have cans today, but
I'm not a connoisseur of alcohol, so it's two different sides.
I mean,
of the table, really.
we've recently got a self endorsement with Carpacchi. They couldn't provide the cans today, but we're really looking forward to.
I used to be self endorsed. It's all by Red Bull.
So we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So yeah, how was your trip up from Galway, or your day in general? How was that?
The day today now wasn't really it wasn't a memorable one up until now. I was just hanging around Dublin really, because I came up on the weekend and met some mates, not my 808s, just me mates.
Yeah.
And I met some mates and and I bought, actually shout out to Lee Kelly, I just got his new tape from All City. I actually left my tape player in my old house in City West, so I need to get it, but shout out to him.
Absolutely.
€7 on All City.
Is he Lee Kelly's a rapper, is he?
No. You know Sage, like Lee Kelly that works in All City. Yeah, he's just changed his alias from Sage to back to Lee Kelly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like house and shit, and it's cool.
What do you think his motives were there, like Sage versus like Lee Kelly?
It's just Lee Kelly's his name, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
fair. He doesn't want to have any notions about himself, I suppose.
I don't know. I feel like the question of having an alias is a really like weird one. You know what I mean? Like when I didn't decide. I got a message off someone while I was waiting for the metro one day, and they were like, it was a particularly wise man, like saying, he was just like, "Man, your name is shit." Like basically, like, and I was like, I know. I just didn't want anyone to say it to me, like, and so I was just like sitting in the metro, and I was like, Sham, I really need to change my name. And like when I was in France, I was there on my own for the most part, so I had weeks to think of this on my own. And man, I came up with some of the shittest names of all time. Like, there was one of my favourite ones, but like it was so shit I knew I wasn't going to use it. I just came up with the alias for a thing, so it was like procrastinate, but like with an 8, as if it was alternate.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's good ones, but like I sent that to someone, like, as in like, don't worry, I didn't for 1 second consider using
they were
this,
meme-ish names, really.
Like, man, some of the names are so bad. And then Shampain was one that I had in mind for ages, to do like a record label or like a party or something like.
Yeah.
And I honestly just couldn't think of anything else, so I was like, I'll go with Shampain.
What are it's a combination of 2 words, is it?
No, it's just like the word champagne, but then it's spelled like with sham, which is like a Galway word that everyone from Galway uses. Yeah. And then I just like spelled pain that way to be edgy, like, and then like but like, yeah, it's kind of gas, like, because it literally doesn't have any meaning, but I suppose it's just like, I think it works a lot better than Red Bull Shoe, definitely. The last day actually, like, I've been getting noticed to touch a bit more around the place, especially in Galway. The last day I crossed the road in Air Square and the car almost knocked me down, And I was
Whoa.
like, man, what the fuck, like? And then he just like, so he was like turning around the corner and he just rolls down the wing. He's like, oh, Champagne, well. And I was like, man, you don't say well when you almost knocked me down. Like, but shout out to him.
Yeah,
He kind of gave me a little ego boost, like, as well.
Yeah, you seem to have a bit of a thing with like fucking people up in their cars, like on their journeys from
Yeah, true.
one place to another.
Would you like to elaborate?
Well, like I was on the way into collect Collie for our first show, and I got pulled over by a cop, and he was wearing like leather black pants, like the full 9 yards. Like he really took himself seriously.
One of the boys in blue.
Yeah, like he could have let me go because like he was like hovering beside the car while I had the window open, and he was like, "You're gonna need to pull in." And I was like, really quickly said that I'd started a YouTube podcast, and I was on the way to collect our first guest, which obviously
might
like
as well have been you, just been like 1001111.
yeah, exactly, like nonsense. And he pulled me over and gave me a 60 quid ticket and 3 penalty points. I've achieved 15 penalty points now.
Oh wow.
Over the course of having a driver's license. I dealt 3 to my mum, 3 to my dad, and maybe if Collie gets a license, I can just
definitely,
like
man.
pass
Actually, man,
those
the last
over
day,
to
like,
you.
I was like talking to my dad, like, cause like my parents live out in Inverness in Galway, which is like in Connemara, and it's like, man, it's just so far away. Like, I've never needed to drive ever in my life anywhere. Like, realistically, like, there's public transport for everything except to go to Inverness because the last bus is at 6. And I was just going on a mad one to my dad about it because I was like living there for a bit when I came home from France. So that, if you didn't know, it was quite hard to get a house in Ireland. Yeah, everyone in Dublin's like, oh, it's so hard to get a gaff, and I'm like, well, what about in Galway? Like, this is equally impossible there.
Cheaper.
But yeah. Oh yeah, I suppose it is.
I mean,
actually a
it's
lot
cheaper, but it's
Yeah,
still
But
inflated.
like, it's still like
isn't it?
impossible, man. I had to wait for ages. But my dad was like, yeah, like, well, why don't you just start driving? And I was like, man, that's literally the most like arduous process ever. Like, it takes like 2 years.
Mm.
To actually get a gaff quicker than do that.
Yeah.
Well,
I
like it would be the least you could do to pay me back for today. You know, I'd really be upset.
If I ever do get a driver's license and we never meet again ever,
Yeah.
I will think of you when I get it.
do
Almost
because I won't
instantaneously.
have a license.
Yeah.
Then I've been removed from. the
Well,
road.
if you get penalty points, you can throw them on mine. You have 3 penalty points on take from me.
Oh man, I'm flattered. I'm absolutely flattered. But yeah, we were like talking as well earlier about your origins. You just said you're from Inverness, which is the back arse of nowhere, basically. And where are you from before Inverness?
Yeah, man. I feel like it has particular pertinence to the podcast, and the mates behind it would be that, yeah, I'm from Arklow in Wicklow. Which is like shout out Wicklow, man. It's the most underappreciated county on the map by far. Like, I only lived there till I was 3. Want to clear that up, but don't want to cover that up. But like, even like the amount of people that come from Wicklow, man, is insane. Like
Yeah.
Katie Taylor,
Yep.
me, Hosier, me, Roshi Murphy, like,
Larry Murphy.
yeah, actually he does. And you know what? He moved to Connemara as well. There was like a rumor in my my secondary school for a while that like Larry Murphy was gonna get there, like, back in the day. But
Yeah, I'd say that
Yeah.
that's
it
like
was-
spread
it was
overseas.
rather
as well.
grim. But no, what I was gonna say was like Mano Latouf is actually from Wicklow.
He is great.
There's there's quite actually an abundance of
Yeah, there
really
is,
good
yeah,
Wicklow talent, and Daniel Day Lewis like lives there the whole
Yeah.
time. You know, he's basically from Wicklow.
His kid actually went to school with like one of our cameramen, Corey. His name's Cashel.
Shout out.
Is he the model?
No, like that's the older one. I think Cashel's like the younger one, but they're like, you know, like
But
kids of movie stars.
man, like Wicklow actually has like such a rich heritage of like
Oh, yeah.
actually like
Yeah.
really like talented people for
Yeah.
like such a tiny place. And I think it comes from the fact that it's not Dublin. It's like, it's something that I used to ask people when I interviewed them quite a lot, was like, do you think not coming from Dublin just has a chip on your shoulder to like, yeah, I need to like make it in Dublin? Because like, it doesn't make sense, let's say, the proportion of people in Wicklow that are like really successful
Yeah.
to the proportion of people in Dublin that are really successful.
I
Do you know
like.
what I mean?
I think. Sorry, Bill. I think. I've like thought about that as well, and I think it's like less about kind of separating yourself from Dublin, but it's more so that it's almost a middle ground between being a suburb and being a rural place. So like, it's kind of one of these places where you can pretty much do what you want. Like, there's not like in big cities and stuff, like, you at a young age, I think you have to like quickly identify with a particular like hobby or subculture. So like, if you're going to be a rugby lad, if you're going to be a gal lad, if you're going to be a skater, whereas in Wicklow it's kind of like I wouldn't say judgment free, but like a lot of us like have just like done everything and no one gives a shit. Like it's just really chill.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah, that's true actually, because all the Wicklow fam that I have met up with sometime later, which is kind of weird. I find it very weird.
Do they still
Like-
live in Arklow? Yeah.
Well, like I don't know them, like
Oh,
as in
okay.
I don't really know anyone in Wicklow, but I mean like as in I've met like Josh Moody, let's say, and then all his mates, and then like kind of through him obviously ended up here.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Loose way. And it's just like mad how like that group of people is like, yeah, you're all like super like unique in a way. That's like not the,
appreciate it.
I think it's weird though. Yeah, I understand what you mean about there is a certain thing in Dublin that you have to like fit into a certain group.
In terms of like DJing, was it difficult for you to break into the Dublin scene coming from the outside, or was it sort of?
It's like it is and it isn't. I think I'm in like a unique kind of spot in a way, because if you want to go back to like, let's say like if we want to take it back to where it started, let's say it was like I used to DJ every like Saturday night in a club called Carbon in the second room called Der Kasserraum, which is German for boiler room, and we used to DJ like with our back to everyone and all this like whatever. And then so then there was one night Colch was playing in the main room. Is it Colch or Colch? I don't know. I think I say Colch. I don't really know.
Well, like
Because
if
the
you're gonna
Coley or
say
Collie,
Coley,
like
you
it's,
may say Colch,
yeah, you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
I want to be consistent. But anyway, so yeah, it was like he was playing in the main room, and I'd only been DJing there like 3-ish months or so, and maybe even less. And I went up to the manager fella, just being like, "Oh man, is there anyone sorted for the boiler room, like the second room for Colch?" And he was like, no one wanted to do it because they wanted to go see him play. So I was like, sick, can I like play at that? This is going to be a really busy night. So he's like, yeah, grand. So I'm playing away anyway. This fella comes up to me then when I'm playing, being like, oh, I run a night in Dublin, or I'm thinking of starting a night in Dublin. He was just thinking of starting it. And he's like, yeah, I'll get on to me, whatever. And like, do you know, I don't know if he's DJ or ever have, but like so many people go up to you like, I'm running a night in like fucking Finland, like, do you want to get on to me about it? And you're like, yeah, whatever. But I don't know, it's just like, no, what's your Facebook? So like I'm DJing, I took his Facebook. So I messaged him the day after, blah blah blah. And then it ends up with me actually about to, I remember it so distinctly, man, it's so weird. But I remember I was literally, I was living in Westside in Galway in an estate called Glendara, and I was going to the shop with my mate, and he was putting me under like such pressure, like come on. And I was taking a piss in the toilet under the stairs, and I got a call off a number, and I was like, what? And I answered the phone, and it's a fella that I'd been messaging. And he's like, oh man, I want to start this night in Dublin every 2 weeks on a Tuesday in this place called South William. And I was like, oh right, cool. Like I was thinking of calling a night tea party on a Tuesday, because I was going to do that in Carbon.
Right.
So then he's like, oh, that sounds cool. And then we took it from there, and then we did the first tea party, and it was me and Evan Campbell, who had been playing every Saturday night. We closed out in South William basement, and it just went like so outrageously well. And then we closed out the second one, and then we played in the middle of the third one, and so on and so on. So tea party kind of gave me a really like good like ground from there. And shout out Kyle Carter, that was the person I didn't know. Ooh. And like, you know, so that like gave me a foot up there. But I think also writing for 44, I suppose, just like exposed me to that sort of crowd. And through writing from 44 and stuff like that, you kind of got more so involved with Hanger than a lot of other people would have. And
That's
kinda
kind of
like
the more ambiguous like part of like your success to me, is that like obviously like it's kind of it's out there. It's like, you know, nowadays it's a lot easier to get a gig. Like you can learn how to beat match and know the right person, and you can get a gig in a club.
yeah.
Whereas like with I'd be more interested, you know, like to know like how did you get like into, obviously you did journalism in college, was it?
And still doing.
Still doing, and like your rise to success in that. for
Don't
me
do
is-
it, sorry, by the way. Don't do it.
Are you not kind of already succeeding in that area,
exactly,
given you're
like-
writing for 4-4 though? Like,
Man, yeah.
what is that?
The journalism in college thing is, I'll answer you what was your question first? And then
I was just
we'll get
wondering
on to
how
that.
you
That's a
managed
good
to
question.
get yourself into those circles. Do you feel like the DJing actually complemented that, because you are writing for?
Sometimes I think it does, and sometimes I think it doesn't. Like sometimes I'm like DJing, I'm feeling like, man, would I just be better off just DJing? Because I feel like sometimes people are like, who's this fella? But then other times you're like, would I be better off like just writing? Because in some ways people might find you as a competitor. Do you know what I mean? As in like, you're kind of like involved in this scene. I hate to use the word, but like in two like different ways, and you're kind of competing on, you know, you're competing with people in this field and you're competing with people in this field, and then sometimes you might want to work with them, you know what I mean? Like I might want to interview someone, but like we might be like rivals per se for
I get
DJing.
you, yeah.
Same way as like I might want to DJ with this person, but
DJ battles.
and like we had like we were outside some club being like spitting birds and like but no, and then I might want to like play it this night, but me and him didn't see eye to eye on something on the magazine. It doesn't work.
Right,
So you know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
That doesn't really happen like
Yeah.
a huge amount, but it's like like something you're like, oh, will that really work? Same ways as in like you might get seen as like a writer, not as a DJ. Like I sent this fella, he does a night in Belfast and like really likes kind of like his sort of style is like of the nights he does is similar to mine. So I was like, I just got back from France and I was like, I better just send a few mixes around, whatever. I did, and he was like, oh, I didn't even realise you DJ'd, even though we'd been chatting for like messages about like stuff to do with magazines and stuff. So I was like, yeah, it's a weird one, like, you know.
At least like you get the opportunity to shout out your mates when you're writing for.
Oh yeah,
for
definitely,
it,
man.
which
That's
is
actually
handy.
good. But like, yeah, I think it's definitely more beneficial than not.
Yeah.
Well,
Do
they
you know what I
work
mean?
in tandem, like, so
Yeah.
they're gonna help. Both of them will help you, but I
Yeah.
suppose the one that people will ultimately be more critical of is the journalism. At the end of the day, because like people could go to a set and you know a lot of the time it could be some out of it who's just like there for the bop. Whereas I
No, I've
suppose-
definitely
I
gotten a
suppose you have
lot
to be
more
like,
criticism over my
tactical.
journalism than DJ.
not more criticism, but like you have to be
Yeah,
tactical.
you get more
I suppose.
haters, like definitely.
Yeah,
Do you think
online.
so?
Yeah, like, but I don't care at all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like sometimes I feel like, you know, like, because I think like at this stage everyone's kind of wide to the fact that like I'm like I've a name for having a few hot takes on 404, like,
Yeah.
but and I was there for a while. I was thinking like, man, I probably should stop doing this, like, because do you know people might think you're like a shock jock. Like, I don't know. Do you watch what's his name? Do you know Michael Rappaport? That's like no.
Is he like the political sort
No,
of-
no, no. He's like the American guy.
Oh, sorry, yeah, and he
and
has
he-
all these opinions about Kanye and stuff.
Yeah, he's just like, you know, those like guys on ESPN, like
Mm.
Skip Bayless and stuff, and they're
Yeah.
just like, LeBron James isn't gonna make the playoffs this year, and they're just like crazy, like, and you're like, shut the fuck up. With me, like, I've never written an opinion article that I just don't 100%
Yeah.
like stand behind. Do you know what I mean? So when I write, like, the first time I wrote an opinion article, it was like 18, and I just like sent it to one of the lads in the thing, and I was like, this is what I think, and they're like, that's cool, and I'd done
You
really
sent it
well.
to 4-4.
Yeah, because I'd already been writing for them a little bit.
So
at
what
that
age
stage.
are you now?
21.
Okay, so this.
And then, yeah, man, I think it's like 3 years. Sham. It doesn't feel like it.
Mm.
And, yeah, so, like, I don't know. It's like when I write opinion articles and shit like that, like, yeah, people give out to you and stuff. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I'm like,
You're practicing
this is
your
my
free
opinion.
speech.
and, like, I'd understand if I'm offending people or whatever, but at the same time, I'm not doing it to offend people.
Yeah.
I've never written an article where I'm like, this is gonna. I've written an article, and after it's been written, I'm like, this is gonna fucking rub people up the wrong way. But I've never been, this is gonna rub people up the wrong
Yeah.
way. I'm gonna write it, and like, I think that's an important thing to it. Like, don't just write shit to get a reaction. You know what I mean? Like, and I think in that way you'll get more honest followers, and you'll get a few nasty
Yeah, like you
comments,
can never
who
please
cares?
everyone. At
No,
the
you're
end
not.
of the
Like,
day.
especially nowadays, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, facts.
you're not, like, and I'm not going to be one of these people that's like, oh, PC's gone mad, but like, you're just not, like, you know what I mean? It's just the way the world works, and like, yeah,
I
like,
suppose
no
you
one
can-
really criticizes writing in terms of like interviews and stuff, and if they do, I'll take it personally then, because I put like sick amounts of work
Yeah,
into
of
like
course.
really constructing articles. So
Mm.
And
I
you-
don't mind if someone has constructive criticism that I respect, but like
Yeah.
sometimes you'll have some idiot just comment something and it does weigh on you, like, you know, I'm like, fuck, like, I just really wish he didn't say that because I put so much work into that and he's wrong. Like, man,
I
there's
suppose
been
that's the
times
nature
where,
of free
like,
speech. So
yeah.
it's like you.
but
ca-
like, they're fair enough to say that as well.
yeah.
I've said mean things about articles.
Like even whatever, like, you know, you could have an opinion that people don't agree with, but I think it's like cool that you've used it as a platform to voice your opinion about, like, you know, universal issues, like, you know, the kind of attitude towards mental health and like drug abuse in Ireland. All those things are like, you know, you can write an article that will be conflicted a lot, or you can write one that's just like,
yeah, it kind of
And
sums
the-
up a
yeah, exactly.
general opinion.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I wrote that article, man, that one you're on about, and I was just really happy with how it turned out. I was happy that like people like that it was like received well and shit, because
Oh,
like,
absolutely, yeah.
I don't know, I just wrote it. The day I wrote it as well, I was really, really tired in the office, and I only wrote it in like an hour, I think. I wrote it really quickly, and I remember I was just like, but it was something that had been on my mind, obviously, for ages. It's on everyone's mind, and yeah, man, I just think it's like super important, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the time, like, for people that don't know the thing, like, I don't drink or do drugs, like,
Yeah.
which is quite rare for like a DJ or anyone involved in any sort of, it's just rare.
Do you only
rare
DJ
for-
on Pioneer decks?
I do, man. Actually, fuck zones and fuck rotary mixes. But anyway, getting away from that. Yeah, I think like obviously I don't. So I come from like a kind of unique position in that way, and a lot of the time, I'll be in a green room or like on the dance floor or something, and some like my mate will put his arm around me. He's like, "Oh man, I love you," and it's like, I know, like, you know what I mean. But you never say it to me when you're not.
Yeah.
Similarly to the fact that I don't go up to my mates when we're just sitting watching telly and like, man, I actually love you. Like, when have you ever done that? Ever?
Do you wish they could more?
But that was the kind of the point of the article was
Yeah.
like, I don't like. There's definitely a mental health problem around. There's a drinking problem around. There's a drug problem around. There's one everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
has
yeah.
an unhealthy relationship with something. And like the thing is that like, you can't just wait to like, you can't rely on like substances. I think to like, or certain.
You can't wait for
scenarios.
something to go wrong to make it right.
No, but I mean, as in, like, you can't wait on substances and stuff to let your honest thoughts out because, man, you're
Okay,
saying it in like a fucking like. I remember being at like, let's say, like Dax J, and someone's like, "Oh, I love you," and I'm like, "Man, I can barely fucking hear what you're saying. Like, literally can't hear what you're saying." Same way as that, like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and you're on the couch and it's whatever, and someone goes, "Man, like, you know, I've like €5 on my bank account and like I'm so stressed out," but then like it's like the kick drum comes in on the speaker and they're like, "Oh, you up out of that," and then you just whatever. It's like, it's really good that people are opening up and saying it. But it's kind of pointless in some way, and I think like, yeah, don't rely on that sort of stuff to
Open up.
you know, don't rely on that stuff to open up. Like, it's good to open up whenever, no matter what state you're in. But like, I think it's really important, man. Like, just for people our age to like fucking actually discuss what's on their mind. It's
Absolutely.
not. Like,
So
I think we are more though. Like, and I hope that article helped. I didn't write that article for people to say I was a good writer. I actually wrote it to be like, this is something we really need to discuss. And I think like, that article got loads of shares and
loads of
shit. It's
response.
like the most read thing on the site. So like, I think it did. I really hope it did.
It's
like,
because it extends beyond the subculture.
and I actually want to shout out Jack Farrell as well, because the picture he has on it is like the picture we used for it. It's just like the perfect picture. It's like, you know, like sometimes it's like picture paints 1,000 words. It's just like,
okay, yeah.
it's like just the two lads, I know them. They're just like sitting on the couch at an after session, and it's like just like it's such a good picture. So shout out to Jack Farrell. He's like just such a good photographer as well. But like, yeah. That article does actually have like a little special place in me. Go on.
Absolutely. Yeah, like we were gonna dip into something more music related. Like I've noticed like a common trend across a lot of your podcasts, where you like to talk about, say, the rise of the lo-fi genre and the rise of the edit.
Yeah.
And like where that stands in the electronic music scene as a whole, and where it stands, in a country where there's like fewer producers, which means we've a much broader scope on a smaller group of people. But I was like trying to think about like music that I like, and you know, like you're gonna critically analyze these things when someone brings up the topic. And I was thinking, I was like, what's the difference between, say, some of Daft Punk's earlier work where they just like literally sampled like 4 and 8 bar loops like to a T and just added kicks to them. And I was like thinking about it, I was like, is that because they did it first, or is just like true originality something that will prevail no matter what the medium is, no matter whether it's just chopping up a song and putting a kick on it,
Well,
or whether...
I see where you come from, I agree with it. But I think at the same time, like, if you look at, like, let's say Can't by Mulgrave, like, that's just a fucking animal tune.
Yeah.
It's so good, but all it is like a really, like, heavily sampled thing of Alicia by Mallet. And I'm like, yeah, that's done really well. The whole problem, let's say, I'd have, or I've said, or whatever I've said in podcasts or whatever, is the fact that, like, we're just getting people in Ireland at the moment. And it's like, it's not exclusive to Ireland, but I suppose just because I'm here, like, I'd notice it, is that, like, it's like, man, like, people came out, like, artists came out that were, like, really popular, yeah? And, you know, like, styles came out that were popular, like, on House EM and stuff. And now it's just, like, everyone's getting like you know, whatever software they use to make tracks, and they're just like taking an old disco tune and then like putting like kicks and hi-hats over it, which I presume is very easy to do, because every producer friend I have says it's very easy to do. I don't know any producing at all, and but like, yeah, and it's just like they're doing that and there's no originality behind it. They're doing it because they want to make a track. They're like, I want to get a track out there, I want to get a track out there, I want to get my EP up on SoundCloud, and I get sent them, and I'm like, it's pointless. Like, you've no thing behind that, and you're also just taking the track, this disco track that
like, at
was
the end of the day,
made
it's
by
only
some
gonna
like
reflect on them.
African choir, and your people will think Jam, this fella who's like been producing for 2 months has assembled an African choir in his gaff, and he's put drums over it.
But that's the
and
nature of
whatever
a
and whatever.
sample, isn't it?
I know it's the nature of a sample, but I'm saying as in like they're not like when you say Daft Punk, like Daft Punk like made Rolling and Scratching on their same first album. Do you know what I mean? Like they flex their muscles on it. You know what I mean? As much as they can. Same way with Margaret, man. Like or anyone that's been mentioned. Like most artists that do those samples that get popular can also like back it up with other stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm saying as in if we just let in, and that was with that most recent article on 44. If we let in, like fair enough, some of those samples might be good, but I'm saying as in, first of all, you should credit the artist if it's like a fat sample, like if it's an edit. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't say like so and so Champion. That's the name of the track. Like oh, this is my new track Champion. Whereas really it's like
someone else's.
Whoever King the Third. And whatever like the name of it was, that's what it should be, an edit by whoever. You understand what I mean? Like it's not like what. So I understand what you mean, I get what you mean, but I think at the same time like there's a particular lack of originality to some degree, and I think it is cool that people are producing and it's really good, but I think we need to be way harder on new producers and say like no, it's not on that you're like taking a track and just putting it under your own
Is
name,
it not just
know?
a case of like overlooking it at the end of the day? It's like, you know, everything like originality will rise to the top.
But at the same time a lot of that stuff's getting a lot of airplay, and like I mean there's like house
from
and
Irish
disco
artists, like
like a house and disco has gotten a lot like more popular, and that's sound like it's
but
not
say
like,
the individual's not in it for the right reasons, like that's only going to reflect in their
I know,
own
but
trajectory
the
to
point
success.
I mean is that it's like I think it's bad because it might discourage people that like really put time and effort into making like more like music that will necessarily last longer, but at their particular point in their career, like let's say it's just some fella in like Scary's making tunes and he's like making these like dub tunes and like ambient stuff and like all sorts of different weird things, and like he's just seeing these fellas make edits and he's like fuck this, I'm like why am I bothering?
Have you ever compared it to another genre?
What do you mean?
So like if you just like look at music as a whole, like the common thing that runs through it all is that like if you listen to a rap song, if you listen to a rock song, it's like it will just like have that thing that makes a song good. But like if you step away from the umbrella of electronic music and like look at it like, okay, right, so John down the road's gonna learn how to play guitar. That doesn't mean he's instantly gonna like start putting shit on the internet, because like there's this trend with electronic music producers.
I suppose it's just
like,
an inherent link, because it's
just like this mentality of like,
suppose,
alright, like I'm DJ now, right? I'm gonna like buy a DAW, and
man,
now
DJs are the new makeup artists. Like it's straight
exactly,
up true,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, as in like guitarists aren't. You don't see someone make an Instagram account and it's like John Smith guitar.
But they should
you'll
be.
see
They
John
should
Smith
be equal in
DJ.
my
It should
mind,
be
you know?
equal.
Yeah.
Totally agree what you mean, man. That's a really good way of putting it. But like, it's just not. And at the moment, it's trendy, and that's why I mean.
We need to slam them down.
Yeah, no, like I really don't. Like the more the merrier. It's class, but like I'm saying, as in us, the critics or whatever, or the people that have like somewhat of a platform to put people on and stuff. We need to take time to think. This is good, but how could it be better? Like so and so, you've made an edit and it's really good. Like you've got a good ear for your sample or whatever. Now try and make like a more original track. Now I say there's a million people watching this. Like I hope there's a million people watching it.
yeah.
But I know there's gonna be people watching it. They're like, fuck that lad. What's like who's he to tell me what can you make? And I can't tell you what to make. But I'm just saying, maybe put a bit more thought into what you can do. If your edit was that good.
Yeah, it's more like weight, because it's like
just be more like savvy as to what you're putting online maybe, and like and we need to be more savvy in terms of criticizing it. Like it's a really small place, as you said, and we can't like, you shouldn't be afraid to say, man, that's really just not that good. And it's not that I think you're a dickhead. I just think if you really want to actually like put the time into this and really make the most out of it that you can, don't be putting up stuff that's subpar, because
it's
that's
probably too easy to put stuff up now though. Like
man, it's easy, man. I made a tune before in Fruity Loops and I was so buzzing with it.
When's the EP coming?
Man, the EP's I made a tune in Fruity Loops before and I put it up at like 6 in the morning and I was like so buzzing. I woke up and I was like, Sham, get that off my
it's
SoundCloud
like
now.
this. I found like, just like I've been producing for a while, and I find the difference between knowing whether it's good or not is like the time that elapses between when you first make it and when you start to hate it.
Yeah.
So it's like when you first do it, it's like it's like when you first do it, it's like a couple of hours. So like I remember in like 6th year, I like threw some tune together. It was like just like the worst plugins in FL, and I called it like Umbongu or something, and brought it into school the next day and was like, lads, listen to this and this. and then when I came home, deleted it, and I found like now a few years later, it's like I can maybe go like a week and a half, and then I'm just like, oh fuck that.
Yeah, I think like then there's the case of some people are too critical on themselves and need to put something out at some stage, but like, you know, then you're just being pedantic. Really, there's a problem with everything. But yeah, it's an interesting one. But yeah, I think it definitely begs the question too, is to like, you have to be so careful now as to how you perceive it. Like we were saying, like you could put up, there could be like, you could put up a tune, like whatever style of tune and whatever genre you want, and it could be like grand, and then you could make it this whopper tune, but everyone's heard your first one and they're just like, oh, he's so and so bothered listening to it, you know what I mean? So I think
there has to be a coherence, like, I mean, like your own sound, which is
like I think it's like, man, it's we're like existing in a time now where it's like you don't have any idea really like how anything works, like, do you know what I mean? Like, as in, you're guessing algorithms, you're guessing people's opinions, and you're guessing this and that and the other. So my guess is as good as yours, but I think like people should definitely be a touch bit more careful about the stuff they put up as regards tunes and mixes. Like, yeah, straight up, man, like some of the mixes, I just went back at my SoundCloud last night. I was like, Sean, why is it still like, I just deleted a load of mixes, like, Christ above. But yeah, like now when I put up a mix, I'm like,
sure,
I'm happy with
yeah,
this,
yeah.
like it's good, like, yeah.
Do you sit on your mixes for a while, or do you just put them up?
It's interesting you ask. Sometimes like I make a mix, I'm just, Sean, this is the best mix of all time, like this is the one. Like this is the one, this is my boiler room, like. But I do sit on them for a bit, like, as in it's trickier now because I like to keep like a good coherence between like almost planning when you're going to announce this gig and then when you're going to put up this mix, or like, you know, when you're going to announce you're coming on this podcast or this, that and the other, you know what I mean? Like, not that I'm that busy, but I mean as in, like, you know, you have to take that into account. You can't just do a mix and then be like, I'm going to put it up now at like 20 to 1 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, you need to try and get the most out of everything, you know. So like that was kind of one reason why I did that Glucose and Gullies mix, was because I wanted to put a mix out on my birthday. I actually did a mix EP, just because I was feeling edgy, and I just put out like a little like vocal thing taken from an interview.
I love that thing at the
Did
start.
you like that? Yeah. Thanks for
yeah.
listening to it. And yeah, it was one of me, Mango, and then I like put that, and then the first Glucose and Gullies, and then another mix. And it hadn't intended to be the first Glucose and Gullies, but I remember when I did the mix, I was like, that is so sick. I was like, if Boiler Room asked me, like, man, we're gonna make up a video of you DJing, but you need to send us one of your mixes you already done. I was like, take that one.
Yeah.
And then I did another mix that was like similar in that style, and then I was like, oh, that kind of is the same sort of style as that one. And then I was like, okay, I'll just call that Glucose and Gullies 2. And then that went with that one, and I was like, and then I did the third one, and I was like, okay, this is like works really well. So since I come back, I actually haven't had time really to do another one, but that kind of taught me in a way to like be really careful, like what tracks you're putting in, and to kind of adhere to a certain style and to bring it out at a certain time and kind of like follow. It was the same thing with Snooze. When I started doing it, was like I kind of had a format to putting it out, you know what I mean? Very loose and lazy format, but like, as in, you know, you need to get the picture for it, you put the picture up, and then you share it on a certain day, and then you share it into 4:4, and you share it off this page and share it off that.
Yeah,
you know?
we're like, we can't really wrap our minds around that stuff, like, cause
it's just really hard, like, to be honest.
that's why, like, you know, we've built up a team here, so like we're hopefully gonna.
I was gonna say,
the
like,
the more opinions, the better, you know. Like.
Yeah. I was gonna say as well, like, that you're fucking blessed, obviously, with like you have 1,
Good
2,
group of
3,
lads.
4, 5, 6, and is there
Blessed in debt.
Yeah, and then like
Yeah.
you know, you've got all this equipment or whatever. Like, I know obviously it didn't just land in your lap, but like I'm saying, is in to start off, you're in like a really solid thing. The first 5 or 6 Snooze I recorded on my phone, the rest of them are on a Sony recorder.
Yeah.
The one with Carl Gass is recording in Wigwam smoking area, and there's the one with Raymond Hamill was in their car, and their mate was sitting there beside me, like, drinking a can.
And
Seriously.
the one with
Like-
mangoes outside somewhere as well.
Yeah. Actually, that one with Mango, I had to edit out like 3 or 4 fellas out coming up
Oh,
asking
really?
us for a change. I think there might be 1 or 2 left in.
He's a funny guy, isn't he?
Man,
What about the one with
Mango's
Sunil?
top.
What did you interview that on a phone as well?
That was on my phone, yeah. That
That's
was
the
in
job.
there. Yeah,
I actually,
Sam,
I had to, like, I only listened to that this morning, like, and I was just like, oh my god, that guy talks, like,
Sunil.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
he has so many great things to say, so it's like, you're fine with
Yeah.
it, but it's like, he can elaborate on every inkling
Definitely,
of what
man.
you could possibly
Sunil's like
say.
a really super interesting guy.
Yeah,
He's got a
definitely.
million opinions on everything, and he's the easiest interview you'll do in your life, because I've interviewed him 3 times now, and every time it's been like 4 questions. But it's like
yeah.
I think that Snoots has 6 questions. It's like an hour long.
Yeah,
We're almost late for the club.
he almost like, I love his kind of like frank attitude towards his own career, in the sense that for like people who are our age, like I would have had, like, if I had a thought like what would I say to Sunil Sharp, I would have said like similar things, and you were like, isn't it like, how do you like reflect on the scene and your come up and like the genre of music you began to make? And he was just kind of like, oh well, I was just doing it, so
Yeah.
And I was like, that's
he
so
could look
cool,
back
like.
on that with rose tinted glasses or whatever, and he's just a straight up fella, you know what I mean? And I really enjoy talking to him. Like, you always just get like a little grain of knowledge off him that he mightn't even intend to be a grain of knowledge, but like you just get it off him, and you're like, wow, like there's people kind of like that, you know, that you just bump into, like Sunil, that's just been around for ages, and he like intentionally or unintentionally has like so much information and everything. And then in terms of like DJing and whatever, he's in the league of his own. I could easily say like he's the best DJ in terms of mixing and whatever,
yeah, he's a
like
weapon.
by a country mile in the world. And if anyone wants to argue with me, they'll see these hands. But like, no, like he's sick, man. Honestly, like,
Absolutely, yeah.
How are you managing your time recently between college and Dublin and well?
I'm
the
definitely not like I find that you just like learn like not to sleep, like, do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, as in like today.
The monster.
Cheers. No, but like I could definitely manage my time better. I definitely find that when I have free time, I don't do anything, and I could have just like I can do a lot more in my free time. You know what I mean? But I feel like the more stuff that I think being busy just makes you busier. You know what I mean? Like, as in like this week, I'm busy now because I'm doing this, and then on Wednesday I'm playing with Ed Fay in Galway, and then on Thursday I'm supporting Next Coast in Dublin, and then like next week I'll be playing with Tommy at Tea Party, and then I'm actually doing my own headline gig in Galway on the Wednesday. So like, you know, there's always something on, but then like I've got college shit to do in the meantime, and then like the odd time you'll have an interview to write up on a deadline, and I'm actually going to France then next weekend to do something that I can't elaborate on right now, but it would be cool. And you know what I mean? So like there's always something to do. I don't know, do you find that? But I find like when I'm procrastinator, as I said, that's where the name came from. But like, obviously we'll leave procrastinate dead
I think
and
the
buried.
less you have to do, the more you procrastinate, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Whereas
like
if you're busy, you just
like man, like the last week, like Jesus Christ, it was like one of the busiest weeks of my life, and like, you know, I could have just handled that a lot better. But like it all gets done in the end of the day, man. I want to let every future employer out there know that until the deadline's passed, there's a chance I'll do it. You know what I mean? Until that deadline, like minutes before, it can still get done. Like I'll always count on me. I've never like missed one. I don't think. There's probably people like, yeah, he's definitely missed one. But like, you know, I don't really handle my time too well. It's something I definitely need to like.
It sounds like you're being almost too critical, like just from an outside perspective.
No,
no.
Like I really need to like. I really need to handle my time better. You can ask anyone that knows me. Like.
Sure.
But I probably am too critical on other things. But that's actually one thing. That, like, ask my man.
Yeah. What's her number?
Hey, easy now.
That's not good. Yeah. So like we're coming towards the end, so we're gonna ask like one more question and then a few quick fire questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we were saying earlier on about the analysis of lo-fi and the older stuff and the origination of samples.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think like the size of Ireland will result in like that never really changing? Like, do you think we're restricted to having, say, like fewer producers and restricted to, say, getting a broader scope on genres and like good sounds because we just live in a tiny country? Do you think the scene will get bigger or even change for that reason?
I don't think so. I think like at the moment we're definitely seeing like a certain sort of change that we're in the midst of, because like obviously Hangar closed, and then like there's just a bit of a lull at the moment in terms of something new happening, which means that there's definitely something new about to happen.
Yeah.
I find like with myself, man, definitely like even just when I'm playing, like when I was playing before Tommy, like 2 weeks ago in Electric, I played this Hodge tune, Lightweights, that I literally just liked the tune, and I was like, this will probably clear the dance floor, like people won't like it. And I let it, there's not even kick, like it's just like the bass came in, and everyone was like, "You," and I was just like, "Fuck!" Like I probably wouldn't even dance to that. Like I probably would have left if that was me. Like, you know. So I think people are definitely like listening to stuff a lot more. I think people are getting into it a lot younger, which means there's more scope by the time people start going out that they're like just into broader things. Like the more time you spend listening to electronic music, the more time you're gonna be like end up listening to bloody ambient and stuff that you would have like got sick at the thought of when you were like 18. Like I would.
It's like diving into YouTube wormholes, except
you know what I mean?
the
Like, so
genre
I
of
think
elec-
I think like obviously, the problem in Ireland is that like I feel like young people get like kind of like fucked about a bit when they're like younger. A lot of people like take advantage of younger people and like people that are like creative and people that have like a go in them. Like, and you know, people like they take advantage of them. They want to like suck them dry for everything they have, and then that young person or whatever flies over to England or like to wherever, and they're like, "Fuck Ireland, I'm not Irish. Like, don't be calling me Irish in interviews, and don't be like mentioning me as Irish or whatever." That's a common thing. And then when they become 40, they're like, you know, like, "I'm Irish. Like, I want to come home to Ireland," and like this. You know what I mean? When do you ever find an Irish person that's mega worldwide successful and they're based in Ireland? Never. Now, for me, I find that that's because we get too like head up and like just pumping them and being like, yeah, you're really good, we want you to do this, that and the other, and all in the same week, you know what I mean? And I think that like, yeah, we don't show enough respect to some like younger people that like do things. I think we should respect younger people's opinions like so much more, man. Like, it's criminal how much like younger people just get taken advantage of, like, just because like they're young and naive and stupid, and then you can fuck off to England, and then you'll come back to Ireland and do that to the next generation of younger people. No, like, that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to change if you want the scene to grow bigger, because everyone that does anything in the scene ends up leaving, really. Like, anyone that has any like thought-provoking stuff or whatever leaves. Obviously there is so many people in at the moment that like operate now that are doing so much good things, but I think for that to expand on like loads of levels,
And
we need to just
it
take
does
a
seem to
step
be
back and be
restrictive.
like, hey, let's just like appreciate the thoughts people have. New thoughts come from new people. Newer people or younger people. Why don't we just appreciate their thoughts and stop trying to like just suck them dry for what they can give us? Do you know what I mean? Like, let's like just respect younger people. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's what I think. Like, when do you have like a new club night that does something completely different, and then it doesn't just like kind of peter out, and the fella moves to like wherever,
that's true,
Pyongyang
yeah.
or something.
And it is kind of restrictive to the like creative activities, because like, you know, people come here for like corporate jobs and stuff. People come here to do like loads of things, but it appears like there does seem to be a bit of a blockade on like just like really progressing to that like upper echelon of creativity.
Yeah, like, you know, like, you think like, look at like all the like Concrete, Fabric, Bearcoin, About Blank, the million clubs, Sub Club, all these clubs that are like famous worldwide. Like we have so many clubs in Ireland, and we have such a hunger for clubs in Ireland that our clubs should be at the same thing. We have so many like ways to promote them and make them like, we have the best crowd in the world.
Yeah.
Straight up. And like, at the moment we're definitely in the midst of getting our best wave of producers and DJs. You know, definitely. Like this, I find like in 10 years time we might look back at this and we're like, this was like the Bristol, the way
there'll
there's
be
like
a
the
real
Bristol
scenes
fellas,
on
or
Dublin
there's
or
like
something.
or like, there's like the the dubstep things and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
like, I feel like this is kind of our time, whether it's house or disco or whatever, and this could be our time to build like a worldwide name for like thing. Now obviously the late licenses have stuff to do with that, and we could do 3 podcasts on that if you want. What I'm saying is, right now we need to like really come together and put our minds together and measure our steps and say, let's get fucking Ireland known on like a worldwide scale. Like, we should be like, man, Irish people built so much like famous shit all over the world, like, and now we're really specialising in dancing and partying and stuff.
Yeah.
Why the hell can't we get known on a worldwide scale for doing that? We won like fucking supporters of the whatever in the Euro 2012. They made an award for how good we were at partying at a football thing. Surely to God we should be like the place to come to like dance and shit at dance music. You know, and I think like, I don't know how to do that, but I think well, maybe I do. I don't sell myself short. Maybe I do know how to do that. But yeah, I just really like, I don't think I think like this potential is there. We need to kind of band
There's
together and
scope,
do
yeah,
something.
definitely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, before you do the quick fire questions, I think we're gonna give him that gift,
Oh yeah,
Oh, there's more.
we
that,
have a gift.
that garment.
Oh yeah, it's on the table there, I think.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my jeez.
Yeah,
that's
so
for you.
This one.
Yeah.
Right, I
Open
feel
it
like
out, baby.
I'm happy to have signed for 808 and Mates. Number
You're never
10.
leaving, baby.
That's sick, man. I was gonna ask for one, but
Yeah, there you go,
have
boss.
It's only
get a shot of
17
that.
Yeah.
Or what if I wear this and then hold my PSG jersey like I've just signed for PSG? Man, Kylian Mbappe's on the cover of Time magazine, which is sick.
And who were that like Korean pop band were on it recently as well? They were on Graham Norton. I just remember
Je ne
I
sais
like
pas.
went home and my dad was like, "They're the biggest band in the world."
Oh, I think I know that. Is it? I don't know. I'm not gonna guess.
BSG, I don't know.
But yeah,
Yeah.
shout out Kylian Mbappe. He's a
Respect.
don. When I was in Paris, he's like everywhere. He's just the sickest fiend ever, man. I'm just like, he's a young person fucking smashing, man. Straight up, like I just like to see
Yeah, he's balling alright.
the prince, man.
Right, so we've got a few quick fire questions for you, Bill, if you wanna.
Go quickly with them.
Yeah.
2 sugars or 1?
None.
Red Bull or BPM?
BPM.
Hyper Vintage.
Hype.
Michael D. Higgins.
Yeah, obviously.
10 Walls.
Oh, definitely not. Send him.
Arklow or Inverin.
Eyesight, I have to say, man, for my real G's.
Oh my god, man. Where's the weirdest place
My mum might watch this, so I'm not going to.
Yeah. We actually ran out of
Ran
things
out
on
of
the list, so that was
questions,
the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
You know. Well, yeah. Thanks, Collie Collins.
Man,
This
I
has
could actually
been,
got arrested for like saying something weird there or not. Like, not that I have, but like I'm just saying you could actually get someone like.
We're just trying to expose
trying
We're
to
not
be
trying to
edgy.
catch you out on the
For-
quick fire.
for the perv that you are.
Yes, bro.
Well, yeah, this is the end of 808 Mates, episode 1. You have been Collie Collins, and we've
Still
been
am.
the lads.
I have been Red Bull Shoe. Now I'm
You-
Champagne.
Exactly. Don't forget it. Oh yeah, and some upcoming gigs. X-Coast.
Yeah, so I've got I'm playing back to back with Ed Fay this Wednesday in Factory. Ed Fay's on the sickest DJs ever, man. He's got
Yeah.
like quite a similar style to me. And then X Coast in Button Factory, and then the Tuesday after I'm supporting Tommy Hoolan in for a tea party, and then I'm playing a headline gig in Galway on the Wednesday with Antisocial Acid Club, and then
Whopper.
I think there's a few others in the pipeline, but
Nice.
I don't have my calendar with me. That doesn't exist.
Mm.
That was a lie.
Well, you probably should get one then
Yeah.
if you're.
No,
gonna-
it doesn't. I need an agent first, maybe or something.
yeah,
Don't be my
we
agent.
could sort you out, you know.
Mm.
Anyway, later, guys.
Thank you very
Merci
much.
beaucoup.